What really happens to a country when it hosts a major global event like a World Cup, an Olympic Games, or a Commonwealth Games? Does the country change? Do the people change? There are lots of things we can see, like new buildings and homes, new sports facilities, and a new feel-good factor. There are lots of facts and figures you can look at. New visitors, improved tourism, improved participation in sport, and big impacts on our economy. But what about the things you can't see? The things you can't really measure? Does hosting a global event help the population to feel like global citizens? Does having the pinnacle of global excellence in sporting achievement help to inspire the population and raise their aspirations? These are some of the questions we can explore in Scotland in the aftermath of the Glasgow 2014 Commonwealth Games. In this short film, we'll investigate the education programme of a Scottish charity, which ran one of the largest ever Games legacy programmes. We'll see what happens when a legacy programme reaches a generation of young people in hundreds of schools, both at home and abroad. We'll look for evidence of the inspiration of the Games, leaving a lasting legacy of aspiration in young people, and ask the question, are they global citizens in the making?
He thinks the coolest thing about the Commonwealth Games coming to Scotland?
The athletes coming.
Yeah, the whole world will focus in Scotland. It means that it can show how good the culture is and how good a country.
And how awesome we are.
Are you looking forward to meeting people from around the world? That's fantastic.
So the origins of the Global Citizens in the Making programme really come from Sir John Templeton's Laws of Life essay contest and his book Wisdom from World Religions. The poster is in fact the 8th version of a very refined process that enables children and young people to really reflect on 3 core things. The first of those is that our thoughts can become our actions. So if we can help young people to think and to reflect, then it's those thoughts and those reflections that become actions in the future. The second thing is, well, what thoughts and what actions? And if we're able to signpost and facilitate thought and reflection onto core human values that are embodied in things like the Commonwealth Games and the Olympic Games, the spirit of these things, then we're helping young people to reflect on global values and think about that in the context of their own lives. And I think the third thing is putting that into action. So it's having those thoughts, writing them down, sharing them with others, and ultimately, for global citizens in the making, realising that today an event like an Olympic Games and a Commonwealth Games gives us a chance to connect with our global peers and really think about who we are and who we could become together.
I think the programme is fantastic, very inspirational, helps young people to set their own goals, but also to connect them with young people throughout the world and other Commonwealth countries, and to look at the values of the Commonwealth, and that's a really important part of the legacy of the Commonwealth Games. Part of the outcome of sharing those values with young people throughout the Commonwealth is understanding the lives of young people in other parts of the world, being able to connect globally with young people from so many different countries. I think will leave something very, very important in their lives, and hopefully they'll be able to share and leave something in the lives of young people in many other countries.
When I first saw the poster programme, it seemed almost, like it had been created for my thoughts about education. So I'd spent so many years working with disengaged and disaffected learners that to see this and to see that this was an opportunity that all young people could have to actually find out what their genuine passion was at the core of who they were, that to me means that young people can make much more informed choices at the end of the process. So things like, what career do you want to go into, or what do you want to do at college or university? Actually knowing what motivates you and drives you and your genuine natural skills is going to lead young people into making much better choices for their future. The Commonwealth Games had a massive advantage for us because it was a great topic and it was exciting, and the country was gripped by it. But also I think teachers appreciated that it was a good opportunity for young people to engage with it and succeed without having to be really good at sport if that's not your natural talent, that you're going to go out, and achieve in sporting fields that actually young people could be doing our programme and excelling in terms of reflecting on themselves and creating a really insightful piece of work, but that was still aligned to the Commonwealth Games. So I do know that a lot of teachers appreciated that. I think the challenge for me was learning how to present the programme in a way that would allow people to recognise that it was important, and it was important whatever subject area they were teaching, and actually how do you get through to these busy people and get them to make a change and see things differently.
It's a very busy curriculum, and the difficult thing is with character, it seems to fall into slots between every class, and every teacher is doing their best to do little bits to pull it all together, but sometimes there isn't a focus, and I think we've got to find space for that. The Inspire Aspire programme we use in school is very good for that, because it gives them a block of time where they are sitting, they're thinking about, I really am good at this, or they're thinking, well, I need to work in that, and it stands them in great stead when they go out to employment, when they meet people, all sorts of things, because they already know who they are rather than having to try and find it. And as you do it year on year, it's interesting to see them develop and grow and blossom.
We check our emails daily every morning to see how much applications we've had, and then I'll go through them, and then we decide what needs to go in with the posters. So we have welcome letters and returns forms and stuff like that, and then we'll package them up and send them out to the schools, and then they'll eventually, once they've had time to complete them, they send them back, and then we have to keep track of what we've sent out. And it's good to have responsibilities like that, because you feel like you're really part of that project and you've got big responsibilities, and it's really you've got a lot to deal with. So it's good to have that pressure on your shoulders so you can excel in it. It's important to persevere as well, because it is a stressful environment sometimes, and when it gets closer to the awards event it's quite stressful, but then it's important that you just try and get through the work that you need to do. I think they learn a lot about themselves, as well as doing a poster project. It's good to see them getting their award, because they're getting the recognition for doing an amazing poster, and it's good to see them the smile on their face and that, and they're always happy to be there, and they're always keen to get involved again the next year.
I was completely overwhelmed actually by being able to look at all of the pupils' work, being able to actually have a conversation with some of the young people, and I think the opportunity for them to think about what it is they want out of life, how they can make a contribution to that, the kinds of values that they stand for, how they live by those values. It's not just about words on the page. You see the impact it's had on them, and also on their families, and you hear from their parents how they've seen their young children perhaps change, and the impact it's actually had in the household. It's just amazing in terms of what the projects can do for these young people.
I think initially it was quite daunting to see all these Commonwealth nations and territories on paper, a huge list, and we didn't really have that much interaction at that stage when I started about 18 months ago, so I guess looking at that initially was a bit daunting, absolutely, but I think in February of last year we came up with a bit of an idea to have a campaign called Beat the Baton. So what we did was we set up around the office all country flags, so starting where the Queen's Baton started in India and finishing all the way in Scotland, and by that stage we had Mark Beaumont announced as our presenter for the awards. So what we did was came up with a bit of a concept. It was a bit cheesy, but to race Mark around the Commonwealth and try and beat him back to Scotland, and to do that we had to sign up a school in each of those countries. So I think that was sort of a turning point, I would say, into the international recruitment, because it really gave us a lot of focus to go with. Rather than looking at a huge list, we could sort of focus on each country at a time in a strategic order, and I think that worked really well. Once once you get through to the right teacher who really sees the value in the project, similar to in Scotland and England, Northern Ireland, Wales, once they see the value in the project and see the how unique it is as well and what it does, I think once you get that hook there, you've got them, and it's fantastic. Like, it's a totally different experience you get with them as well, I would say, because for them to have, I think, a contact and I guess a friend in another country is quite special for them, I think. So for the likes of a few countries in Africa, I've developed quite a nice ongoing relationship with them, I would say, as a result of this, which is fantastic. You know, we're sitting now with 54 Commonwealth nations and territories, so 47 of those are nations, so we've actually only got 7 nations to go until we hit the full 54, which is just incredible considering some of these places are so remote. So it's yeah, quite a good achievement, I think. When I was presenting at a school in Australia and doing some work with them, it really came across then that it was almost exactly the same. The things that were valued, the inspirational figures, like it was Nelson Mandela, Malala, like it's all the same people coming across, even though these young people, you know, they've got totally different curriculums, totally different teachers, and they're, you know, a different way of life, I suppose, than those in Scotland, that it still sort of really came across.
I'm most excited about learning more about myself and more about the people around me, and because I want to I want to work in a profession in medicine, I need to learn about myself before I can actually help other people. So by doing this Inspire Aspire program, I'm going to be learning more about myself and who I am as a person, and what qualities and what values I have and what I need to work on, and how I can actually develop those skills in order to help other people.
I think that digital engagement and especially social media engagement is important for Inspire Aspire because we're working with young people and we're working with this generation that has been brought up, you know, always on their phones, always on their computers, and always using social media and digital technology. So obviously the #1 platform that we would try and reach them on is social media and everything digital. It's important for people to see what young people value and what they see as important for them, because when we ask people to make a vision for a better world, this is kind of our way of getting them to action that and to really put that, you know, their words into actions essentially, and getting them to kind of think about that next step in creating a legacy from their poster and taking that idea and that concept and actually putting it into something that they can do to make a real difference. I think reading the posters that the young people are doing now in Scotland and all around the world, I think personally it gives me a lot of hope to know that these young people have got really mature and positive views on the world, and that they really you can tell that people really want to make a change. I think the one key thing that young people would get from the Inspire Aspire posters and from the programme is this hope that they can really make a change if they want to and if they put their mind to it, basically.
Well, I think it's a wonderful programme. First and foremost, I think young people have to reflect upon themselves. What kind of people are they? What kind of people would they like to be? And I think reflection is a wonderful tool. The poster programme in particular is absolutely fantastic.
Sport is this incredible way to link people together. It really bonds people, and it kind of somehow, it doesn't matter about different language issues or boundaries or cultures. Everyone can get united in the same way, and it's about inspiration, and it's about these incredible sort of values that exist in every country.
Character is the stuff that you have that makes you. It's stuff, and it's things like honesty and kindness and bravery. It's all the different facets of your character that come together and make you who you are.
I think that really that understanding of different cultures, where we can share ideas with one another, that it really is part of the process of education for our young people.
I learnt who really inspired me, because I never had someone to look up to until now.
I think it gives the kids an opportunity to actually look at themselves and what they're capable of doing. So, you know, it really gives the kids a good opportunity to actually sit and do a really full project and take the time to actually look at themselves.
If we don't know what is inspiring people and pushing them to do that, and if we aren't helping them figure out what they need to do that, then how are we going to expect any change?
I'm learning so much about my kids that I thought I knew, and I don't. They're surprising me with how mature and how deep they can go with their understanding.
I can be more honest with people now that I've showed what I want to be when I grow up.
We think we have all the time in the world, so a vision for a better future can seem really out of reach. The only way to get over this is to keep writing draft upon draft until what you write covers what you want to say and reflects your character regardless of your mood.
The chance to examine their values is something that is going to give them skills for life.
Yeah, I want to be someone who people can look up to me. I also want to be a better role model to the younger kids.
We are interconnected, we are global. We need to allow young people to explore that, to think about it and prepare them gradually for the bigger part that they have to play in the world.
The Inspire Aspire programme works because it's simple. It's because it allows young people to find their voice.
I thought about how maybe in my future I can build a career out of trying to get a better world for everybody.
A fantastic programme. All the youngsters in the school will benefit from it, and that's what it's about.
Appreciate the wonders of discovery.